Hey, turn that thing up.
I'm Karen Stiller. Welcome to the Faith Today podcast show where we feature an insight from a great guest. And today, that is my friend, Ann-Margret Hovsepian, Montreal based, full time illustrator, artist, one of the, to me, most successful and prolific Canadian creatives who are Christian. So, Ann-Margret, I'm so glad you're here with us today. And one line from your website that really grabbed me was, my work brings together my passion for creativity, whimsy, and my commitment to truth, wisdom. That's my formula for seriously joyful living. That is awesome.
Yeah, thanks. About 2 years ago, I wanted to create a newsletter, and in the process of trying to come up with an interesting tagline, I really had to think about, what is my purpose and what am I passionate about, and what would really describe the work that I do. And I've been a freelance writer for over 25 years, an illustrator for maybe the last 7 or 8. And I just thought, the two words whimsy, because people describe my artwork as whimsical, but my writing has been really more serious. At least that's how my dad describes it. He says, you're a serious writer. And so I thought, how is it that I've got these two things that sound opposite, but are kind of working together? And it was interesting for me to realize that, it doesn't have to be either or, that, when we're believers, when we celebrate all that God has given us, our gifts and talents, and that we can be, whimsical and wise at the same time. And so I've sort of embraced that and made that my, it's given me some direction in how I write and how I illustrate, and just wanting to encourage people to be seriously joyful,
I love it.
Yeah, that we don't need to let go of our joy when we're serious about our faith, but also, to hold on to truth and not just, be all about fun and
That
pleasure.
balance.
Yeah.
Well, and the whimsical and the wisdom really comes together in your creative life. And I know I have friends in my life, and I'm sure you do too, people we know and love who say, I'm not creative. I'm all thumbs or whatever when it comes to maybe making something beautiful or doing what's considered a craft or an art. But we know that we are all creative. We're made in the image of God, who is the master maker. So what advice or what tips or encouragement would you give, Ann-Margret, to someone who doesn't feel that that's them, but could step into this joy that you're describing with just a little push?
Yeah, and I think, if we, first of all, believe that God has made us creative and that we're made in his image and he's creative, and just to have the courage to explore that and see, what does that mean for me? I'm not musically talented. I'm not good at baking, or in my case, knitting. So what does creativity look like for me? And I think, first of all, letting go of that idea that creativity equals art, or because I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have, and just really seeing creativity as a way of looking at things differently, and having an open mind of different ways to do things or different ways to approach things, and maybe we're inspired by something and thinking, could I do something like that? Could I do it differently? How can I put my own spin on it? And I think also a lot of people feel that they have to be completely original. And we know in Ecclesiastes it says there's nothing new under the sun. And I think that can also intimidate people. Do I have to make something that nobody has ever done before? Or do I have to do something better than anyone else has done? And those are things that can really hold us back from exploring and nurturing creativity. I think just being able to let go of those pressures and just saying, I'm just going to try something. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to see where it goes. And maybe it'll end up being terrible, but at least I'll know, or I will have tried. So I think having that courage, the curiosity, I think patience is also a big thing. Sometimes we want to see great results right away. And I think of, we talked about baking, if when you make a batch of brownies, you can't eat it 2 seconds later, you have to wait for it to bake. Or, we talk about butterflies and pearls and all these things or a plant that, you plant a seed, an acorn, it's not going to pop out instantaneously. Creativity, I think, needs time to grow and to be nurtured and to, just to see where it goes. I think sometimes we're too rushed.
Yeah. So play, courage. Yeah, I love that. And I will say I do eat my brownie batter prematurely. But,
oh, well, yeah. So
but still, I take your point. Ann-Margret, thank you. Those are great tips and great encouragement. So thanks for being with us. And remember, you can listen to Faith Today podcasts anytime at faithtoday.ca/podcasts. Thank you, Ann-Margret.
Thank you, Karen.